Welcome back. All right, so 11 games tonight in the NHL as we get right back at it. And there were a couple of shutouts, which is great. So there you go. So we're going to start things off talking about the Boston Bruins and the Ottawa Senators. Boston would have beaten Ottawa, but Cam Talbot said no. I'm sure Boston asked him politely. He still said no. So it was Swayman versus Talbot in this one. Hall has a chance that's held in close. DeBrusk had a rush chance that was held as well. The shots are 4-2 for Boston 5 minutes into this one. Sens get a power play. Tkachuk can't bury one in close. That's killed off. Sanderson defends a no-sec chance. The Bruins press with 7.5 minutes left. Things get kind of pushy after a hold by Swayman, who also had a very good game. 3:56 left. The Bruins get a power play. Pastas denied as it ends. Bruins press there. Then Pinto was denied in close in the final 30 seconds. So after the first period, it's scoreless. Pretty entertaining first period, though. Second period. Early press by Boston. DeBrusk has a net feed that's picked off. The Bruins score, but it's offside, so no goal. Shots are 4-0 for the Sens at 4.5 minutes because that was the only shot Boston had in the period, too. Post for Giroux from the side of the net. The Senators would get a power play, and they score on it. It was a good cycle that sets it up. Stützle buries it from Chabot and Batherson at 8:11. Sens press for another, but Boston answers. It's DeBrusk from Bergeron at 10:33. Then DeBrincat with a really pretty goal. He just puts it around Swayman and in. At 13:37, he scores from Batherson and Holden. With 2:55 left, the Bruins get a power play. Ottawa kills that off. So the Bruins press to close it, but after 2 periods, it's 2-1 in favor of the Sens. Third period, Boston had a ridiculous amount of chances in the third period. So they had the early edge, which ends up being an understatement. Boston outshoots them 4-1 in the first 6 minutes. Sens press at 6.5. And the Bruins weren't getting a lot in close at this point in the period, but it changes. Grzelcyk has a shot saved from the distance. Pasternak's then denied on a 3-on-1. The Bruins get a power play. Krejci, Pastrnak missed wide. Bergeron, Pastrnak are denied, and others were denied as well. And then at 16:21, Zacha gets one for Boston to tie it, and then the Bruins press for the lead. So it is the Cam Talbot show in that third period. And we go to overtime. Bruins control early. Marchand with a wraparound. That was blocked. Chabot's then denied on a 2-on-1. Pastrnak has a backhand. That's held. Stützle has a net drive. Held as well. Swayman denies Stützle and denies DeBrincat as well. And then Tkachuk was robbed on a breakaway. So Swayman gets us to the shootout. In the shootout, there's one goal scorer, and it's DeBrincat. So Ottawa wins this one in a shootout 3-2. They go to 15-16-2 on the season. The Boston Bruins with the shootout loss dropped to 27-4-3, dropped 2. The 3 stars in this one: Talbot, Swayman, and Batherson. The shots 14-11 Boston in the first, 10-6 Ottawa in the second, 27-5 Boston in the third, and then 6-4 for Ottawa in the overtime. Final shots are 51-32 in favor of the Bruins. Power plays: Boston 0 for 3, Ottawa 1 for 2. The hits 42-23 for Ottawa. Swayman saves 30 out of 32. He was excellent. Talbot was every bit as good and better. 49 saves on 51 shots. Pretty remarkable game for Talbot. And so for Ottawa, we'll see if they can build some momentum from this. And they've now won 2 games against Boston at home. We'll see what they do when they travel to Boston and if they can keep their good luck rolling. All right, next up, Chicago and Carolina. Not a lot to say on this one, really. Not a lot of notes. It's a game that came and went. These are teams going in absolute opposite directions. So it's Mrazek versus Raanta. The Canes had the only shot 3.5 minutes in, and at 3:36 they score. Necas buries a rebound from Burns and Stastny. The shots are 4-0 in favor of the Canes 5 minutes in. And then at 8:53 they score. One goes in off Murphy's skate. It's fast from Pesce and Shea at 8:53 to make it 2-0 in favor of Carolina. And just watching this, I thought to myself, Chicago's not getting 2 goals. And yeah, that's where we're at. Canes press with 7.5 minutes left. There was a near miss for Svechnikov. It really is all Carolina. 20.8 seconds left. The Hawks get a power play. That rolls over into the second period. It becomes a 21-second 5-on-3. Domi has a shot that's saved. Then there's a shorthanded rush by Stahl. His chance was saved at the other end by Mrazek, who had a very good game. Not that many people are going to talk about that. That power play's killed off. The shots are 3-2 in favor of Chicago 4 minutes in. They had a much better second period than first. The Hawks go back to the power play. That's killed off. Then the Canes get a chance on the power play. Chicago kills that off as well. Fast to Stahl, near miss at the net there. Svechnikov is a net drive, that saved. Shea can't bury one in close. The Canes press with 2.5 minutes left. Shea's denied. Mrazek holds. More pressure from the Canes in the last minute. So after 2 periods, the score remains 2-0. Third period. Early press by Carolina. Domi's denied. The Canes cleared out. Then we get a power play for Carolina. Aho has a blast that's saved. Pesce has a shot that's held. And then after the power play ends, Martinook makes it 3-0 from Stahl at 4:55. Another buried rebound. So either Mrazek coughing up rebounds or Chicago not clearing them. Depends on how you look at it. Canes press for another. Chatfield had a rush chance that deflects out. The shots are 17-4 for Carolina with 6 minutes left. Canes get a power play, that's killed off, and they hold on. They get the shutout victory. So 3-0 is your final for Carolina. They're 23-6-6 with the win. Chicago 8-21-4 with the loss. The shots in this one, 23-7 Carolina in the first, 10-7 Chicago in the second, 19-7 Carolina in the third. Final shots are 49-24 for the Canes. Power plays, both teams 0 for 3. The hits, 30-14 for Chicago because they never had the puck. 3 stars are Ronta, Fast, and Martinook. Mrazek saves 46 out of 49. Ronta saves all 24 shots for his 16th career shutout. So you'll notice the Tony the Tiger magnet that I replaced the NHL logo with. That's because the goaltender was great. That's on shutouts. So I've got the Cobra Kai No Mercy magnets for the blowouts, which we didn't have tonight. And I have the Tony the Tiger for shutouts. Now, when it's both a shutout and a blowout, I don't know, because I don't have like a Tony the Tiger Cobra Kai mock-up at all. So that's not a thing, as far as I know. All right, next up, maybe by season 9. Get sketchy by then. So Washington in against the New York Rangers. Boy, Washington's got some momentum going for them, don't they? And they don't need Ovechkin to score. So it's Kemper versus Shesterkin in this one. Early edge for the Caps. But the shots are 4-2 for the Rangers at 4.5 minutes. Caps get a power play. That becomes 1 minute and 40 seconds of 5-on-3. You can't give the Caps a 5-on-3, especially one that long. And Johansson scores the 5-on-3 goal from Kuznetsov and Gustafsson at 8:44. I don't know what's going on with Gustafsson, but all of a sudden he's all over the score sheet. Rangers did kill the 5-on-4. Caps press with 8 minutes left. The Rangers would get a power play. Kreider's denied. The Caps cleared out. They would kill off that power play. Trocheck fires one wide. Caps with some turnover problems late in that period. It doesn't burn them tonight, though. So we go to the second period with the score 1-0 in favor of Washington. Early Rangers power play. Kreider has a tip chance. That won't go. Mantha's denied. Igor holds there. So that's after that power play was killed off, because of course it was killed off. Look at the score. Shots are 6-5 for the Caps at 9 minutes. Gauthier with a rush chance, that saved. The Rangers press with 6.5 minutes left. This is right around where Gerard Gallant is messing with the lines, trying to find something that will work. He may still be messing with the lines right now at MSG by himself. Gustafsson scores to make it 2-0 from Sherry and Strome at 17:01. The Caps then get a power play. Johansson's denied, that's killed off. But before the period's out at 19:23, Eller scores from Mantha. So it's not a power play goal, but it's not long after it ends. The score after 2 periods is 3-0 in favor of the Capitals. Third period, Fox fires one wide on a 3-on-2. We get a power play for the Rangers. That was killed off. Heedle's denied on a kick save by very solid goaltending from Kemper tonight. Shots are 5-3 for the Rangers, 8.5 minutes in. With 4:56 left, the Rangers get a power play. They'd pull the goaltender because they're down by 3. They need goals immediately, which means Connor Sherry with a painful-looking shot block ends up putting the puck into the empty net from the other end of the ice at 16:58. Blocks the shot, puts the puck in the net. It's a shorthanded goal and an empty net goal. And then with 2:27 left, the Rangers go back to the power play with just the one question left, which is, could Kemper get the shutout? That's killed off, and the answer is yes. Your final score is 4-0 for the Caps, who are now 20-13-4. The Rangers have to be frustrated with their record at home. They're 19-12-5, and their home record has submarined them. 3 stars in this one, Kemper, Gustafsson, and Sherry. The shots, 13-8 for the Rangers, 15-7 for the Capitals, and 12-7 for the Rangers in the first, second, and third, respectively. Final shots are 32-30 for the Rangers. Power plays, Washington 1 for 3. The Rangers 0 for 5. The hits, 19-18 for Washington. Kemper saves all 32 shots for his 28th career shutout. And Shesterkin saves 26 out of 29. For the Rangers, they'll just have to figure this out and pick it up their next game out. But for the Capitals, this might be one of the most impressive victories I've seen from them this year. So that bodes well, I think, for, post-Christmas break. All right, next up, Pittsburgh in against the New York Islanders. So the Pittsburgh Penguins, bit of a rough night for them. So it was Jari versus Sorokin, and at 1:03, posting in on a turnover. Anders Lee scores from Nelson. The Islanders look for another. The puck was in the Penguins' net, and it's reviewed. They go, yep, it's good. Was in before the whistle, that's fine. But immediately there's an offside challenge, so it's no goal. So all that time wasted because it was an offside goal. We then get a power play for the Islanders. There's a near miss for Bailey. They had a good cycle going, but that's killed off. Cizikas is denied on a 2-on-1. There's a press by the Penguins at 9 minutes. Penguins get a power play. That's killed off with 6 minutes left. The shots are 8 apiece. And then Joseph scores for Pittsburgh at 15-13. The Islanders would press with 3.5 minutes left. But after the first period, the score is 1-1. Second period, Fasching scores at 50 seconds. So pretty good play from Fasching since they called him up. Penguins try to answer. The shots are 5-0 for the Islanders at 3.5 minutes. Pressed by the Islanders at 7 minutes. There were 2 Penguin shots in the period with 8.5 minutes left. And they would only double that by the end of the period. Yeah, the Islanders were just shutting them down. The Islanders press, and they get a goal. It's Bailey from Dobson and Romanov at 11:32. Fantastic pass by Dobson to set up Bailey. Bailey buries it. And that makes it 3-1. Barzal's then denied from the slot as the Islanders just keep going. They had more pressure with 5 minutes left. Eventually, they score again. It's Barzal at 16:42 from Bailey and Fasching. So Fasching with a goal and an assist. And after 2 periods of play, the score is 4-1 in favor of the New York Islanders. Third period, 3:33 in. It's Lee from Nelson and Pulock. Keep in mind there were 9 games on at this time, so since this one was a 3-goal difference, I didn't have to monitor nearly as much. So yeah, Lee gets that one. The shots are 5-2 for the Islanders at 6 minutes. The Penguins never really had that push. I kept waiting for some kind of a push and a momentum swing from the Penguins. It never really happened. The Islanders get a power play. That's killed off. Martin then fires one high in a rush. Pulock with a nice defense on a Crosby chance. 2:02 left. The Islanders get a power play, and that helps them kill off the rest of the game. Your final score is 5-1 for the Islanders, who go to 20-14-2 with the win. Pittsburgh drops to 19-10-5 with the loss. Your 3 stars in this one, Barzal, Lee, and Bailey. The shots, 14-12 Islanders in the first, 20-4 Islanders in the second, 8-5 Islanders in the third. They doubled Pittsburgh. Shots are 42-21 in the end for the Islanders. Power plays, Pittsburgh 0-1. The Islanders 0-3. Hits 20-17 for the Islanders. Jari saves 37 out of 42. And at the other end, Sorokin 20 saves on 21 shots. And it's noteworthy that the Fisherman reverse retro did get the win tonight. I haven't been tracking the reverse retros like I was when they first started wearing them. But it was impressive to see the Fisherman actually win a game. So let us go ahead and change boards. Next up, Dallas and Nashville. This was a very unpredictable game, in my mind anyways. So it was Ottinger versus Saros, and on the first shot Dallas gets, it goes in the net, and it's Ben at 1:19. Stars then press at 4 minutes. 6.5 minutes in, the shots are 4-1 for Dallas. Then there's a press by Nashville with 6 minutes left. Jeannot had a shot that was held. Jeannot's not nearly on the board as much as last year. Like it has been quite the drop-off for Jeannot from an offensive standpoint. Just chances, too. We'll see if that picks up for him. There was a power play for Dallas. Robertson fires one wide. That's killed off. 2:58 left. The Stars go back to the power play, but they're kept to the outside during that one. It's killed off as well. Yossi's then denied on a rush with 16 seconds left. With 15.7 seconds left, Nashville gets a power play. So that rolls over into the second period where we end up with 4-on-4 for 1 minute and 6 seconds. During the 4-on-4, Nashville gets a goal. It's Forsberg from Carrier and Ekholm at 56 seconds. So that ties the game at 1. But when Dallas gets that power play, they score on it. It's Hintz from Robertson and Heiskanen at 2:15. Predators then get another power play. That's killed off. Stars, they get their turn on the power play, and Nashville scores during that. It's a shorthanded goal. It's Trennan from Smith at 8:15. And then the most important part, they finish the kill after that. Nashville looks for the lead. They end up getting themselves a power play. Dallas does kill that off. Hintz then couldn't bury one in close, and with 13 seconds left, Dallas goes back to the power play yet again. So third period, we get a shorthanded rush by Trennan, and there's Cole Smith again. He was denied. They did kill that penalty off. Things get pushy then after a hold by Oettinger. The Stars press at 4.5 minutes. The shots 6.5 minutes into the third period are 7-3 for Dallas. And I really felt like we might be seeing theft of a game here by Saros. Parsonen was denied in close. Fabro then defended a really good chance for Kiviranta there. 5:40 left. The Stars go to the power play. Back-to-back clears by Nashville. They really don't let them set up. They kill that off. And then at 19:07, last minute, on a face-off win, and then they forecheck, they bury it in close. It's hints from Ben and Pavelski. So it's a 3-2 win for Dallas. They go to 21-9-6 with the win. Nashville 14-14-5 with the loss. They really need to start winning some games here. Your 3 stars are Hintz, Saros, and Trennan. The shots are 17-8 for Dallas in the first. That's 17 or 12. That's a 12. So I just gave Dallas 5 extra shots. I'm going to go ahead and take those away. It's a 12. 12-8. Shots in the second, 13-4 Nashville. Shots in the third, 17-7 Dallas. Who writes this? Why can't I read it? Oh, I wrote it. Anyways, the shots are 33-28 for Dallas. Power plays 1 for 6 for Dallas, 0 for 3 for Nashville. The hits 36-17 for Nashville. Oettinger saves 26 out of 28, and Saros saves 30 out of 33. Oettinger had a very good game, but I understand Saros getting a star because without his fantastic play, this game would have been over sooner than it was. So, that being said, moving along, Minnesota in against the Winnipeg Jets. So I mentioned that we had our Christmas today in an earlier video, and we did. And the unfortunate part is that this is my wife's 2 favorite teams against one another. She loves to watch these games, and she wasn't able to see that because of transporting people around. And so, yeah, I watched this. Nowhere near the amount of power plays that are in this game, and I mean, the scoring's the same, but it definitely feels like the games with more power plays are the ones that end up getting more notes, which makes some sense. So it's Gustafsson versus Hellebuck in this one. The shots are 2-1 for the Wild at 3.5 minutes. They get themselves a power play, and they score on it. It was their only power play of the game, too. It's Spurgeon from Hartman and Steele at 5:29, and that was on a rush late in the power play. Winnipeg almost killed that. Then Zuccarello adds one at 6:33, so it's a little over a minute later. Kaprizov and Steele with the assists there. Jets get a power play. That was killed off, but right almost exactly at the halfway mark at 10:03. Dubois scores from Connor and Morrissey. Connor was then denied in close as Winnipeg tries to tie it. Things get pushy after a hold by Hellebuck, and after one period of play, it's 2-1 in favor of Minnesota. Second period, the Jets had the early jump in that one. The Wild press at 2.5 minutes, but 4 minutes into the period, the shots are 5-1 Winnipeg. There was a power play for the Jets. That's killed off, and then Freddie Gaudreau, he scores from Zuccarello and Spurgeon at 8:54. The shots are 10-5 for the Jets with 5 minutes left, but we go to the third period with the score 3-1 in favor of Minnesota. 2 minutes of 4-on-4 early in that period. Then there's a near miss for Hartman on a rush opportunity. Scheifele has a shot that's held. The shots on net are 2-1 for the Wild at 4.5 minutes. The Jets press at 6 minutes. The fans call one. The referee does not. Wild press with 6.5 minutes left. There's a net feed to Stenlund, near miss on that. The Jets can't get to the net, and then it's an empty net goal. So they pull the goaltender. They were down by a couple, and Walker hits the empty net for, I believe, his first NHL goal with Boldy at the assist at 17:55. The problem on this play was Kyle Connor had taken a high stick that actually cut him, and it was not called on the play. So Minnesota gets that empty netter. They end up winning this game 4-1. They go to 20-12-2 at the win. For the Jets, 21-13-1 with the loss. So they're only 1 point clear now of the Minnesota Wild. The 3 stars in this one, Zuccarello, Spurgeon, and Dubois. The shots, 11-8 Minnesota in the first, 13-7 Winnipeg in the second, 11-10 Winnipeg in the third. Final shots, 32-28 for Winnipeg. Power plays, Minnesota 1 for 1, Winnipeg 0 for 2. The hits were 33-22 Winnipeg. Gustafsson saves 31 out of 32. He played very well. I was surprised he didn't get one of the stars. Hellebuck saves 24 out of 27. And for Winnipeg, you kind of got to just get an eraser out and forget this one and move on to your next task. But it is getting worrying, the amount of losses that they're getting back to back to back. So we'll see how things go for Winnipeg going forward. They do have Vancouver up next, so that could be good for them. We'll see. I would think there's more pressure on them, though, than Vancouver, but we'll see. All right, next up, Toronto in against St. Louis, and this might have been the most entertaining game of the night. May very well have been. Samsonov versus Binnington in this one. Early press by the Blues, but it is the Leafs that get the opening goal. Giordano would hit the post, and then Hall buries it from Giordano and Matthews at 3:08. Then there's a near miss for Matthews on a rush. Parayko nearly ties it, and then Rosen does against his former teammates. From Brown and Toropchenko at 7:34, the Blues then draw a power play. That was killed off. There were some chances on that, but it was killed off by Toronto. The interesting thing with the first period in this game is, like, the Blues press with 8 minutes left. They had the better opportunities, but then Toronto gets the lead. It's Tavares from Marner and Yarncroke, and that's at 19:03. So it's a last-minute goal. It's one of those just killer goals. So the Leafs have the lead after one period. Second period, Matthews has an early shot. That's held. The shots are 3-1 for Toronto 3 minutes in. Matthews then has another chance. That's held as well. The Blues get a power play. There was a shorthanded rush by Camp, but it doesn't go very far because he's out of gas. And then during that same power play, Kerfoot scores shorthanded from Liljegren and Yarncroke at 5:26. Buries that one in close. Not much chance for Binnington there. The Leafs then finish the kill. That's the key thing. But at 7:39, O'Reilly gets that one back. He scores from Shen, and he was kind of allowed to walk in after a turnover. So a passive defensive coverage on that one ends up leading to the O'Reilly goal. The Blues go back to the power play. They score on this one. This one goes through Samsonov as well. It's Falk from Buchnevich and Tarasenko. That's at 9 minutes and 30 seconds. So a lot of scoring in this game. A ton. However, we're not done. Leafs get a power play. That's killed off. And then Yarncroke ends up getting a goal anyways from Holmberg and Engvall at 15:16. Then there's a delay of game call that gives the Leafs the power play. And that's killed off. So we're going to the third period with the Leafs with the 1-goal lead. Early Blues power play. Parayko has a shot that's saved. The Leafs did kill that off, but then Kyrou scores from Parayko at 5:13 to tie it. And then the Blues are pressing for the lead. And now we're far enough down on the board that I'm thinking, I don't know how many more notes I want to throw on here because I don't know if I'm going to run out of room. The shots are 10-7 for the Leafs with 7.5 minutes left. Honestly, they were playing well. It's a tie game at this stage. Parayko has a blast that's held late in that period as well to kind of force that overtime. So in overtime, Blues control early. Tarasenko has a shot that's saved. Brody then gets a penalty shot in overtime. Might have been his first. I'm going to say it's the first time in his career he's had a penalty shot in overtime. That's saved by Binnington. Matthews fires one wide. Tavares is denied. The Leafs are really controlling it. And then on a turnover, so St. Louis gets it, but on a turnover and on a breakaway, Nylander ends it at 4:03. So the St. Louis Blues lose at home against Toronto 5-4. Toronto 22-7-6 with the win. For St. Louis 16-16-3 with the overtime loss. The 3 stars in this one: Yarncroke, Nylander, and O'Reilly. The shots are 11-6 for St. Louis in the first, 17-11 Toronto in the second, 11-10 Toronto in the third, and 4-2 Toronto in the overtime. They did end up outshooting St. Louis 37-34. Power plays: Toronto 0 for 2, St. Louis 1 for 4. The hits 36-11 for St. Louis. Pretty physical game for St. Louis. Samsonov saves 30 out of 34. Binnington saves 32 out of 37. And again, for St. Louis, this is just the kind of result they don't need. They need to start getting some wins thrown together. They don't get that tonight. But they did get some help. They did get some help from the Arizona Coyotes. The Coyotes, a team that don't envision themselves as being out of this either. Even though math would tell you that the odds of them making the playoffs is pretty dodgy, they're not giving up. Georgiev versus Ingram in this one, and 3:55 in, the Coyotes, who got off to a very good start, are ahead. It's Gostisbehere from Chychrun and Keller. Chychrun's value just keeps going up with every game, I swear. The shots are 6-0 for the Coyotes at 4 minutes, but the Avalanche get a power play and they score on it. At 4:32, it's Rodriguez from Makar and Compher. But, to their credit, Arizona doesn't let that sidetrack them very much, and then they get the lead back. It's Lawson Krause at 11:33. The Avs would press with 2 minutes left. Cassian's then denied on a fast break, so for those who might have forgotten, Zach Cassian's still around. He got a fast break there for the Coyotes late and did not get the goal, but it was a fun little break for him. So second period starts with Arizona up 2-1. Surprising result on some level, although Arizona's been good at home. Post for Makar early, but the Coyotes get a power play and they score on it. It is Schmaltz from Ritchie, and there's Jacob Chychrun at 5:59. That makes it 3-1 in favor of the Coyotes. And that one was deflected to Schmaltz and in. So just the puck bounces are going Arizona's way tonight. Johnson then broke up a Coyotes 2-on-1. The shots are 5-4 for the Coyotes with 9 minutes left. And McCarr would score at 11:23 for the Coyotes, for the Avalanche. He got traded during the game. Silliest thing. But yeah, McCarr from Compher and Taves. The Avs then tie it, but it's offside. So the tying goal does not count. The Avs press with 6.5 minutes left. The Coyotes get a power play. That's killed off. And then the Coyotes score. It's Mosier from Krause and Valimaki at 16:38. It was a good press by Arizona, and it was a screen shot, so not much chance for Georgiev on that one. And after 2 periods, it's a 4-2 lead in favor of the Arizona Coyotes. Third period, the shots are 2-1 for the Coyotes at 3 minutes. At 3:43, nice tic-tac-toe goal on a 3-on-1. Carcone, who just got called up, he was leading the AHL in goals. Now he's got a goal in his first game this year. Carcone from Krause and Chychrun, and suddenly it's threatening to become a laugher here. Things get pushy after a hold by Ingram, but then at 5:24, Rantanen makes it a little bit closer. He scores from Johnson and Girard. Compher then had a rush chance that was held. We get a power play for the Coyotes. That's killed off by the Avalanche. The Coyotes are killing the clock with 6 minutes left. They're doing their best to just run this one out. Rodriguez couldn't bury one 6-on-5 when the Avalanche did pull the goaltender. Coyotes with an icing with 1:36 left. The Avs call a timeout. Whatever they discussed did not work. At 19:04, Keller hits the empty net from Schmaltz. And so the Coyotes win this one 6-3. They go to 12-16-5 with the win. Avalanche dropped to 19-12-2 with the loss. The 3 stars in this one, Krause, Chychrun, and Carcone. So your last name had to start with a C, and you had to play for the Coyotes, which starts with a C if you want to be one of the 3 stars. So the shots are 12-10 Arizona in the first, 12-10 Colorado in the second, 11-9 Arizona in the third. Final shots, 33-31 Arizona. Power plays, Colorado 1 for 1, Arizona 1 for 3. The hits were 27-22 for Colorado. Georgiev saves 27 out of 32. Ingram saves 28 out of 31. And now I need to change boards. All right, so the final Battle of Alberta of the regular season, unless we see this in the playoffs. And I don't know if we see it in the playoffs or not, but at any rate, tonight's game was entertaining. The first period was a little bit slower than the rest of the game. So Skinner versus Markstrom, the shots are 3-0 for the Flames at 3 minutes. They started each period really, really well. Flames outshooting and out-hitting the Oilers early. There's a press then by the Flames with 8 minutes left. Puljujarvi's robbed on a 3-on-2. The Oilers had some momentum late. Then there's a turnover by Tanev, but the puck deflects out, so that almost cost them. Shots are even, no penalties after the first period. Very clean, very quiet game through one period in this Battle of Alberta. Second period, early jumps for the Flames, and they would score. It's Backlund from Coleman and Mangiapane at 1 minute and 12 seconds. Coming into tonight, when Calgary scores first, they're 12-4-4. So that's a pretty solid record. Flames then look for another. Kadri has a shot that's held. There's more pressure by the Flames at 3 minutes. But then, kind of against the flow of play, Barrie gets a goal from Yamamoto at 4:58. It was a screen point shot, and that's the 100th goal for Barrie. He finally gets that. The Oilers get a power play. That was killed off. Good back and forth at the half. Now the game's tied again, of course. Flames press with 8 minutes left. The Flames get a power play. That was killed off. Huberdeau then fires one high as the Flames press. But coming out of that second period, the Flames had to feel good about their game, right? You're in a tie game, sure, but you had to feel good about your play. And in the third, they had a fantastic run, and yet here we are. So another good start for the Flames. Hyman misses one wide. The Oilers press. The teams exchange some turnovers. Backlund has a rush chance. That saved. Hyman's then denied. The Oilers would press, and they'd get a power play, and they scored on it. So it's McDavid from Draisaitl at 7:28. That puts the Oilers up 2-1. Dubé then couldn't bury one on a 2-on-1. Zadorov with the net feed. That deflects to the corner. Flames really going for the shot quantity, down by 1. Just throwing everything they can at the net to try to find something that's going to fool Skinner. Looking for a bounce. Looking for some kind of a weird deflection goal. There's a press by the Flames with 3.5 minutes left. Lindholm's denied and close. The goalie's pulled with 1.5 minutes left. Toffoli fires one wide from a sharp angle. He really should have buried it there. He felt he was tripped on that play as well before he had that chance that didn't go in. And he was not happy with the fact there was nothing called. Anderson has a shot that's held. The ref is told that he sucks at this point because, and this isn't the only game where I saw this. Yeah, they're letting stuff go. They're definitely letting stuff go, and I think it's part of the reason why the scoring's dropped down a little bit. So 21.3 seconds left. The Flames call a timeout. And then Backlund would end up hitting the post in the closing seconds. They do not tie it. They lose this one at home 2-1. The Oilers, huge win here. They win the rubber match in the Battle of Alberta. They're 19-15-2. For the Flames, they're 16-13-7. So the way I see it is the Oilers have won 19 out of 36 games. The Flames have won 16 out of 36 games. So your 3 stars are Skinner, McDavid, and Ritchie. The shots in this one, 10-9 Calgary in the first, 13-9 Calgary in the second, 24-4 Calgary in the third. Final shots, 47-22 for the Flames. Power plays, Edmonton 1 for 3, Calgary 0 for 1. The hits 20-13 Calgary. Skinner saves 46 out of 47. That's pretty good night's work for him. And Markstrom saves 20 out of 22. So for Calgary, the frustration is back after that successful road trip to California. The frustration has now returned. We'll see how they deal with this and what the plan is going forward. All right, next up, Vancouver and San Jose. So 2 teams that have been a little bit down on their luck this season up against one another. Canucks trying to go above 500 for the first time in a while. So it's Reimer versus Martin. Besser falls down early. The Sharks press, and all I could think was, oh, not one of those games. Come on, I don't know if I can take this. Benito has a shot that's saved, and then the Canucks rush and they score. It's Horvat from Mikheyev and Besser at 4:26. Joshua then had a rush chance after that. That was saved, but things are looking good for Vancouver. They're out shooting San Jose 4-1, 7.5 minutes into this game. Sharks get a power play. That was killed off. 2 shots allowed on that one. And then Pettersson scores from Peterson at 16:03. So it's 2-0, and then the Canucks press for another. They're looking for more. 1 minute left, though. The Canucks end up going to the box, so the Sharks with the power play, and it takes 9 seconds. It's Meyer from Couture and Carlson at 19:09. Yeah, so that makes it a 2-1 game, and rather than looking at this period and going, hey, the Canucks played really well, back of my mind I'm thinking, well, I mean, they're not going to blow it against the Sharks, right? So second period, the Canucks get a power play. That's killed off. And then after it's done, so Benning gets hurt. Benning gets back up. He gets into the play to make sure he's playing his defensive role. So no whistle is blown on the play. But he's clearly not 100%, not even 50%, I would argue. And Mikheyev ends up roofing it. And the fact that Benning was not able to play the puck very well, it really did have an effect there. So Mikheyev gets the goal from Kuzmenko and Myers at 4:36. The argument being, Benning gets up and he's skating around. You can't blow the whistle there. But Reimer was not happy after that goal went in. And then at 6:16, it's Hughes. Finally, Quinn Hughes gets his first of the season from Mikheyev and Horvat. And so suddenly it is 4-1 in favor of Vancouver. And again, it's this trigger with Canucks right now. When they're up by a big score like this, my expectation is what's going to happen. When does that momentum shift the other way? So Besser has a net feed that's picked off, but the shots are 5-3 for Vancouver with 7 minutes left. The Sharks really didn't get much going the rest of the way either. So going into the third period, the score is 4-1. Barabanov has an early chance that saved. Oman then had a rush chance that was blockered away. The shots 5 minutes in are 2-1 for Vancouver, so they're doing a good job of keeping San Jose away from their net. Peterson has a shot that's saved. The rebound was saved as well. Sharks press at 6 minutes. LeBanc has a shot that deflects high. Hurdle was robbed as the Sharks press. Best save of the year by Spencer Martin there. Meyer then had a one-timer that was saved. The Sharks are really controlling play, and I thought the Canucks were flat at this point in the game. And again, they're up 4-1, but there's still a lot of time left. However, at 12 minutes and 11 seconds, Horvat would score from Besser, posting in on a rush. So that's Horvat's second goal of the game. Maybe this is a sign his goal scoring is really ready to go back up to the stratosphere. And then they start the Bruce There It Is chant, which means at 14:33 San Jose scored. It's Meyer from Carlson. I've noticed the Bruce There It Is chant seems to have the opposite effect sometimes, but at any rate, that does make it a 5-2. However, at 17:32, Besser. It's a wrist shot. It beats Reimer cleanly. And Horvat and Mikheyev with the assists on that one. So Besser with a 3-point game. Horvat and Mikheyev both with 4-point games. And your final score is 6-2 for Vancouver. This is as tension-free as a game gets for the Canucks. So your shots for your record now for the Canucks is 16-15-3. For the Sharks, it's 11-19-6. So we can't overreact to this because it's San Jose. This is their third win against San Jose. But they look good. 3 stars were Horvat, Mikheyev, and Martin. The shots in this one, 10-9 Vancouver in the first, 7-6 Vancouver in the second, 11-8 San Jose in the third. The shots actually favored San Jose 26-25. Power play, San Jose 1 for 2 as the Canucks penalty kill continues to be a story. The Canucks power play was 0 for 1. The hits, 29-18 Vancouver. Reimer saves 19 out of 25. Martin saves 24 out of 26. So Reimer, struggling game. Reimer alternates between looking like a world beater and just not having it. Just that edge is not there. And we'll see if that consistency gets better for him. But for San Jose, obviously, this season is just not happening anyways, so maybe there's no pressure for anything to change. Last game of the night, we're going to look at Vegas and against the LA Kings, so this is your 7:30 start. This is why this review is going up as late as it is. Thompson versus, not Fiala, versus Copley. So that's one of those things where while I'm watching the game, there's stuff going on, and I end up writing the name of the person that's involved in all that. Well, then I drop that marker. Fine, I'll just pick it up. Talk amongst yourselves, everybody. All right, there we go. Copley, it's fine. It's fine. It's just one of those things. I can't leave it that way. I mean, if Fiala wants to play goal, I'm not going to stop him, but he didn't play goal tonight. So good early flow for both teams, but the shots on net favoring the Kings early. 2.5 minutes in, the shots are 4-0. So the Kings are getting their chances. 6 minutes in, still no shots for Vegas. Kopitar's a net feed, that's picked off. Vegas would then get a power play. Stone has a blast that's held, that's killed off. Copley holds on to a net drive from Riley Smith. So Vegas is getting some chances. The Kings press, they couldn't get to the net, and then they do. Velarde with a nice shot. He scores from Lizotte at 11:57. If this is a sign Velarde's going to heat up again, that's good news for the Kings. That lead doesn't last, though. Vegas gets a power play, and they score on it. It's Amadio from Pietrangelo and Stone at 13:08. It was a great pass, and a one-timer hits the back of the net. Kings then get a power play, that's killed off. So after the first period, it's a 1-1 tie. Second period. Few whistles early. Velarde has a rush chance that deflects out. There's a numerous for Kopitar. The Kings end up getting a power play. Arvidsson's denied as it comes to an end. And 9 minutes in, the shots are 4-0 for the Kings. However, at 10:07, McNabb scores for Vegas. So Vegas isn't getting very many shots, but when they get them, they make them count. It's McNabb from Smith and Pahal. That's at 10:07, and that's a rebound that's buried by McNabb there for his first goal of the season. Vegas gets a power play. That led to a shorthanded net drive by Kupari that was held onto. That power play is killed off, and then Danault. Strong forecheck leads to this one. Arvidsson and Iafallo with the assists at 13:22. Vegas presses for an answer. This game tied up at 2. Lecision was denied in the final minute. So 2-2 after 2. We're going to the third period. And this is where I expect Vegas to be just the better team. Copley saves early as Raw had a rush chance. That was unsuccessful, of course. Amadio loses the handle on a 2-on-1. The shots on net are 2 apiece at 4.5 minutes. Fiala with a wraparound, that saved. And then Iafallo wires one top shelf on a turnover at 8:36. The assists on that, Arvidsson and Danault. So Danault's picked up his game recently too. It's great news for the Kings and their fans. Copley then robbed Smith on a fast break. Riley Smith with a breakaway chance, and Copley says no. Carlson then had a wraparound that was cleared out. Vegas presses with 6 minutes left. They had chances, not enough on net, and then they pulled the goaltender, which allowed Arvidsson to hit the empty net from Danault at 19:33. LA wins this one 4-2. They go to 20-12-6. For Vegas, 24-12-2. So LA's within 4 points now of the lead in the division. And for Vegas, this has to be a frustrating result. They got the wins at home. Now they lose on the road. Maybe that's how it's going to work. Maybe now at home at the Fortress, they're going to be great. And on the road, not so much. But at any rate, your 3 stars in this one, Iafallo, Danault, and Arvidsson. Alfredsson did not come out of retirement and play for the Kings tonight. I'm just a little rusty because I haven't done a review for a few days. So the shots in this one, 7 apiece in the first, 8-7 Vegas in the second, 11-8 LA in the third. Final shots 25-23 for the Kings. Power plays, Vegas 1 for 3, LA 0 for 2. The hits 22-21 for LA. Thompson saves 21 out of 24, and Copley saves 21 out of 23. I believe they said that is 5 straight wins for Copley. Good on him. It's a good story, and as much as I love Cal Peterson's story too, and I want to see him come back and succeed, hey, you ride the hot hand, and right now that's Copley. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about any of the games I've recapped. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.